Next on Worcester News tonight, it's been 50 years since we landed on the moon. How Worcester man helped make it happen. Plus, front lawns paved over. Some say it's because parking in the street causes problems, but the city is worried it's a bad look. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Brittany Schaefer. Clark University celebrating its history tonight, as well as one of its most famous professors. Dr. Robert Goddard taught at Clark. He's also responsible for launching the first successful liquid-fueled rocket. It's a big part of American history, and our Cam Jandro is live tonight in Worcester to explain. Cam?
Yeah, Brittany, the actual moon landing isn't until July of this year, but Clark and WPI got the party started early this year because they have very distinct connections to that moon landing. Buzz Aldrin, who was alongside Neil Armstrong when walking on the moon for the first time, his dad actually went to school with Robert Goddard, both of them studying here at Clark University. Without Robert Goddard, 1969's moon landing may not have happened.
The rockets that took our astronauts to the moon were directly descendant from those rockets that Robert Goddard first tested right here in Worcester.
Goddard's legacy is remembered across central Massachusetts. Just 2 months before the moon landing, Clark University dedicated their library in his name. Wednesday, the school celebrated the 50th anniversary of both.
We realized that we had a very special combination of events that were happening in 1969 that related to people and institutions here in Worcester.
Build on the past and create new knowledge to propel us into the future. That's what it took to get us to the moon.
Goddard was a student at WPI as well as Clark. Known as the father of modern rocketry, he launched his rocket successfully for the first time in 1926.
From his early patents, which were both about liquid-fueled rockets and multi-stage rockets, both of which ended up coming to fruition in the moon rocket.
Lori Leshin worked for NASA prior to becoming president of WPI. She hopes Goddard's work resonates with people today, like it did with her.
I worked at NASA's Goddard Space Flight Center that's actually named for him, and I really hope we can celebrate and ignite the imagination of young people today to really think about how one person can make that huge difference.
Now, when Buzz went to the moon, he took a book with him. It was the autobiography of Robert H. Goddard. He then signed that book and brought it back here to Clark University, so the city of Worcester has the first book that ever made its way to the moon. Live in Worcester tonight, I'm Cam Jandro, Worcester News Tonight.
City officials are looking for artists to help create new signage in Worcester as part of their wayfinding plan. The city will be adding 14 district identifiers to provide a system of placemaking signage. The goal is to highlight each district's history while incorporating public art. One sign for the Shrewsbury Street district will portray a cradle of cultural diversity. Senior project manager Jeanette Tozer says this project will help with the city's cultural tourism and economic development.
Artists from, all over the United States can submit proposals for these art panels. They will really creatively and interestingly interpret themes that are very specific to Worcester.
And the city says they hope to complete the project by fall. A city ordinance is looking to stop homeowners from paving their front lawns. Residents say with a lack of parking nearby, they don't have much of a choice, but the city says it's not aesthetically pleasing. Our Anna Botari has the details.
Front yards paved to create more parking have become a more common sight in Worcester. Resident of May Street, Mario Gramo, says he has no problem with it.
Closer to home, closer to the doors, because with lawns there's a distance away with so many people, and that's how people get injured these days.
City Manager Edward Augustus is proposing a zoning ordinance amendment. Its aim is to help retain the traditional look of residential neighborhoods and better define and consolidate driveway dimensional requirements. In a letter to city councilors, Augustus says it will boost traffic safety and help preserve on-street parking opportunities. Worcester resident Rosemary Craven says it's a lose-lose situation.
Because it does look nicer when you have a nice kept lawn. But I wouldn't park my vehicle on the street here.
Augustus says the proposed changes recognize adequate off-street parking is important in many residential neighborhoods, and the proposed changes attempt to balance the need for off-street parking with appropriate limitations. Both Craven and Gramo hope the city is taking into account all factors when it comes to on-street parking.
When you park on the street, these cars come flying, and they're going to hit your vehicle.
Around 2 to, like, during school time, it increases the traffic. So if we have a lot of cars in the sides, I believe it's going to increase it even more.
A Westborough nursing home is one of 7 accused of infractions leading to injury or death. Massachusetts Attorney General Maura Healey announced today a series of settlements with the homes, including the Beaumont Rehabilitation and Skilled Nursing Center in Westborough. The AG says a patient at one of the facilities died after becoming trapped in bed rails. Another patient died because they did not receive proper medication.
These facilities had systemic failures that led to significant harm and in some cases death to residents.
And the settlements included fines ranging from $30,000 to $200,000. The Worcester County District Attorney's Office speaking to seniors today about the proper disposal of prescription medications. District Attorney Joseph Early Jr. formed the Central Mass Opioid Task Force in 2015. Since then, he's gone to several nursing homes, including the Whittier Rehabilitation Hospital in Westborough. Today, he talked about the growing abuse of opioids. The task force meets regularly to discuss ways the community and individuals can fight the opioid crisis. Hospital Administrator Rebecca Roman says talking to seniors about the safe disposal of unused, legally prescribed opioid medications is important.
All ages can be impacted, and quite often seniors can become victims of sometimes they have the medications in their house. They're the ones that many times can be a target, both in the community and in their home.
The DA's office has won several state and federal grants to help fight against the opioid addiction. We first reported last month about proposed state legislation to ban organized tackle football for players through the 7th grade. While some coaches argue players need to learn the proper way to tackle at a young age, others say if they learn the fundamental without the contact early on, brain injuries can be prevented. Our Gretchen LaRosa has the story.
The topic is a tough one to tackle for John Haverty. He developed short-term memory loss from head trauma he suffered as a young football player.
When your brain's being developed, you shouldn't really take hits to the head. You know, I'm a walking example of that.
A proposed bill would ban tackle football in Massachusetts for children in grades 7 or below. Any team or league in violation would be fined.
If you're going to coach young kids in football, fundamentals is the best. If you're a coach or a teacher, you're also concerned about health.
UMass Memorial Dr. Theodore Macnow says repeat concussions increase the risk of suffering another.
Some data that, with repeated head injuries throughout your life can lead to this chronic traumatic encephalopathy, which is what's all over the news these days in these NFL players. It is not well figured out sort of how many hits you need. I think there's a lot of ambiguities with law. Why are we choosing football and not some of the sports that have higher rates of concussion or catastrophic injury?
As a coach for 30 years, Haverty says many head injuries get overlooked for the sake of the game.
If I didn't need medical attention right away, but you can kind of mask it and hide it, most kids that like to play won't tell anyone.
The bill is based on research of long-term consequences from repetitive head impacts while the brain is still developing.
Blows to the head can lead to different things: memory loss, dementia, early onset Alzheimer's. I don't care about me. I care about the hundreds of kids that I coached in my lifetime. How many are going to develop problems later in life?
Gretchen LaRosa, Worcester News Tonight.
And the online petition against the bill has nearly 12,000 signatures. The Powerball soars to a jackpot of $448 million Wednesday. The winning numbers will be drawn tonight. The game hasn't had a winner since last December. In Worcester, Bosky's Market says they've sold dozens of tickets.
Business has been booming, it's been doing pretty good, selling lots of Powerball tickets. People are excited about those 500 million, If they win, they're going to do lots of stuff with it.
If Bosky sells the winning ticket, the store will win $50,000. Worcester's Linda Quinlivan was trying her luck Wednesday and says she would have big plans if she won.
It was a whim. I saw the note on the door, and I just thought I'd give it a whirl, and I would love to just travel the world. I would eat my way through Italy.
And the odds of winning the jackpot are 1 in 292 million.